It has been a brutally hot summer. Then all of a sudden I walk outside and I'm in the 60s. And with those consistently cool mornings, that can mean only one thing. Fall is soon to follow. And with fall knocking, that means it's time to get our fall pre-emergent application down in the yard. Ignore all that, just don't. Yeah, it's another project for another time. You remember that time when I said I was late to the game on getting my pre and post emergent application down in the yard? Roll flashback.
I could have saved myself a whole bunch of work if I had put down an application of pre-emergents going into the fall. But like I had mentioned before, I missed that boat, missed that window of opportunity, and that's okay. Again, I'll just have to work extra hard in the spring and summer to really keep my lawn beautiful and healthy.
Well, this time I'm gonna try and get ahead and stay ahead of the game by getting it down a little bit early. Before we crack open our bottles and we start mixing up our chemicals, let's first talk about why you wanna put down a fall pre and post emergent application. The whole goal is to knock out any annual and perennial weeds you have thriving in the yard. And that's why we're mixing in a post-emergent. You're also trying to put down a nice protective barrier with your pre-emergent to prevent any kind of fall or overwintering weeds drifting into your yard, germinating and establishing themselves. Now let's talk about winter annual weeds really quick. Winter annuals are weeds that germinate in late summer to early fall. They tend to grow through fall and into the winter through some warm spells and early spring. And just before temperatures start to jump in the springtime, this is when they start to seed themselves in the yard. Weeds like henbit, chickweed, and annual bluegrass, these are some of the weeds that you're gonna have a problem with during this time. So let's go a little bit further into why fall is a perfect time to put down a pre-emergent. It's been a while since I've just sat down and enjoyed my yard. Very nice. So one of the reasons fall is a great time to try and do some weed control is this is when weeds start to store up food through the winter. They'll take their energy and food sources away from the leaves and move them down to the root system. It's kind of like squirrels storing up nuts for the winter. So spraying an herbicide in the fall time, just like the food, that chemical is gonna move from the leaves down to the root system. And I've already briefly touched on this, but if you're treating for a annual and perennial weed, you wanna not only mix up a pre-emergent, but a post-emergent as well. Again, the reason for this is the post-emergent will kill off anything that's already growing and thriving in the yard, and the pre-emergent will give you that protective barrier against anything from floating in and germinating. As far as the application timing is concerned, that's all gonna vary depending on where you live. What region are you in, the climate, the weather patterns that you're having, all of that's gonna play an effect on when you actually put down your application. Now, typically folks up north with cool season grasses, you'll sometimes apply during the Labor Day weekend, while us here in the South, it might be late October before we actually get an application down. So for both cool and warm season, our window for applications is gonna be anywhere from middle of August to about the middle of November. Again, it's all gonna vary depending on where you live. One thing to consider when thinking about putting down your application is the air temperature outside. Most herbicides are really effective when you have air temperatures that are about 50 degrees or above. Now, if you're wrestling with this and you're just really unsure, one of the best things that you can do is reach out to your local extension office and get their opinion on when timing is right to put a pre and post emergent down in your yard. So I think that covers the main points. What do you say we get to mixing and spraying? Back to our old backpack sprayer. So here's what we got. We got our pre-emergent, we got our post-emergent, and I've got some marking dye. This is what I used when I did my spring application. It's what I'm gonna use for my fall application. And I've read the label of all three, and they are safe to mix in the same tank, which is another great point. Whatever products you choose, if you're thinking about mixing a pre and a post-emergent, just make sure that you can mix them together. Read the product labels thoroughly, and it will tell you if you can or cannot do that. So for my pre-emergent, I'm doing 1 ounce per 4 gallons for 1,000 square feet. For my post-emergent, I'm doing 4 ounces for 4 gallons for 1,000 square feet. And for my marking dye, I'm doing 4 ounces for 4 gallons for 1,000 square feet. So let's get to mixing. mixed up, ready to spray. That turf mark really does a good job of helping me keep track of where I've sprayed versus where I haven't sprayed to make sure I have my nice even coverage over the whole yard. Boom, there we go. Fall pre and post emergent application is done. You might have noticed that I didn't touch the backyard or spray on the side with the Bradford pears, and that is for very good reason. But that's another video for another time. Again, if you want to know more about the products that I use for this video, I'll link them in the description box below, and you can click over to the website and read all about them. It's kind of sad to think that I'm not going to be out here as much when fall and winter get here. I love using that turf mark to keep track of where I'm spraying and make sure I'm overlapping ever so slightly while I'm walking backwards through the yard making my application. But man, is it messy. Use gloves, try not to spray hard surfaces, just be careful. It feels so good to be ahead of the game, and this application should help keep me there. If you have any other further questions about anything we talked about in this video, leave them in the comments section below, email the customer service staff, or pick up the phone, give us a call. If you're not already, subscribe to the channel by clicking this button. You can click this playlist to see all the videos in the Do My Own Lawn Care series, and click this playlist to see all the videos in the Do My Own Gardening series. And as always, thanks for watching.